Good morning. So today I'm doing a day from home. I'm going to get some packages ready and clean my house. My house is, I'm in one of those modes where I'm kind of inside of myself, kind of go into myself, and I decided I have so much to say, but it all feels like it's like closed in me, and I decided I'm just going to turn on the camera and just tell the story, and what comes out comes out. So it's on the twin flame journey. And the twin flame journey and a spiritual awakening, it's all combined. They're the same. They're happening simultaneously. And because this twin flame journey, it pushes you into this spiritual awakening, because there's a push and a pull that is so strong that you keep on going back and forth, and you really have to go through yourself to figure it out, because you're going through your own polars inside of yourself, going through this it's like a pull towards it's like the magnet. It's like a magnet. It's like two sides of a magnet. So on the one side, you're drawn to your twin, and you have this yearning and this pull, and your emotions pull your thoughts. So you're going through these thoughts that are always opposing, uh, and and they're contradictory, almost not really contradictory. It's like having two sides of the same thing that are both true. That's a paradox again. It's a pull and a push. And so I'll just tell the story. So I think everything started like towards the middle end of last week. Today we're Monday, and my twin soul sent me a video about the ego death, and it sent me spiraling, because I could see the truth in every word, and I could see that that's exactly what I am going through. And when you see truth, you recognize it, and it just brought me, it just came home and resonated with me, and to the depths of my being. And the next day, I um, I sent him a voice message, telling him about it and telling him what it did for me. And and he replied back to me also in voice messages. Um, that really helped me out. And then over the weekend, we met a few times, and it was really nice. It's always really nice. And we met at the Rob Roy. And then yesterday was Sunday, and I went to work at the Rob Roy, and he wrote to me and asked me if he sent me a voice message, if he could, I told him before that anything between us, because we do a lot of recording or voice messages and things like that. And it's all on the spiritual, he's a guide for life. So it's always on the spiritual plane. And he asked, I told him before that he could use anything that's recorded between us, publicly to publish publicly. That I'm all for it if it could help people. You see that I'm just open. I'm just open. It is what it is, and that is part of my spiritual journey is just being, when you're truthful, when you're always truthful and always an open book, then there's nothing to hide, and then you have to hide nothing, and it just feels so good and freeing. So I told him that he could use anything. So he wrote to me and asked me specifically about that what I wrote there, what I sent him that voice message because I was crying on it and going really through it. And I told him, yeah, that he can use everything. And last night he sent me a link to the video that he did. He put it on YouTube and he put it on Facebook. Everything's out in the open. And he put the visual is when we were sitting on his balcony having tea, and we were cracking up laughing. So the contrast between what you see visually and the sound, it's mind bending. It's like two different. It's like if you're watching the video, you want to laugh because I was laughing. I was cracking up. And if you listen to the sound, then you want to cry. But it was so funny. I was watching it and I was cracking up laughing. And then I started crying because it's like, it's also overwhelming. It's also overwhelming emotionally to hear myself saying the things that I was saying and also hearing him and what he was answering. He's so funny. He's just so funny. He's also funny when he's serious. Like he can be serious and you take his words seriously. And at the same time, everything that he says can also, if you're in the right mindset, can also just be the most hilarious thing that you've ever heard. Like if you're not, if it depends on your perspective on how you take what he says. I will post in the comments, I'll post a link to the video that he put. But even the visual is just we're sitting there and we are cracking up, just cracking up. He he makes me laugh. I don't think there's anybody else that can get that far into my mind and know exactly. It's like tickling my brain. It like goes into my mind and it like, tickles my brain from all the different directions. And even that video is like mind bending because you hear like me crying, me crying. About, I don't know how much more pain I can take on this spiritual awakening. And then I ask him, does it become easier? Does it get easier? And I also told him on that in that video, it's in Hebrew. I hope that there's subtitles because if there's subtitles, you can translate and then you can hear what was said. But I also told him in that video that video that he sent me just makes me love him more because in order to send me even that video, he had to have known exactly where I am on my spiritual path because it was so spot on to exactly where I am. And for him to be able to send me that video, and I'll put a post of that video too in the comments. And in order for him to send me that video, he has to understand that concept. And even just to understand the concept of that video and really have it resonate. And I knew I was going to cry on this video, and I can cry because otherwise I just can't. When I get emotional, I have to cry. And if I'm speaking about things that are making me emotional, if I want them to come out, I have to cry. So I'm just crying. I'm not sad. I'm just crying because it's emotional for me. Look where I'm sitting. That way too. It's all the way around. It's just beautiful. For him to understand the concept of the ego death, and I understand how painful it is to go through it. It's it's like the death of yourself, of your being that it's the ego death. It's surrendering yourself over to God, to the unknown, a leap of faith, allowing. And it's so painful. And it just made me love him even more, because when you understand the depths that he went with himself, by knowing the depths that I'm going with myself, it makes me appreciate him and understand him more and respect him. This is a lot to endure. It's like going through yourself and turning yourself inside out. The strength that it requires is it's testing. I feel like it's testing. And the further along I get, the stronger my faith gets, the stronger the tests become. It's because everything in me is changing, and my belief is changing, and I'm coming into my belief, and the people that are the closest to me, that know me a certain way, don't understand the changes. They can't. Whoever is not going through this can't understand. Finding faith, or and I think that some of the people around me are trying to grasp onto the old me, trying to, because they don't see the light that I'm going towards. They don't see the spiritual awakening. They don't see the inner peace, that I'm solving through myself, and the inner peace. They just see the changes. Talking about God, or talking about letting go, or talking about, you know, they're used to seeing, if uh, the trust in God, that God is will provide, and God will, when I'm doing my God's work and I'm being in my true path, I can see it so clearly that when you are true to yourself, everything in the universe comes around in around you and supports you in that. And I can see how it just can't be different. And that the fighting against and trying to make everything happen in a certain way, from the ego perspective, is 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 actually going against what is the natural and best path for yourself. And when you come into yourself in your entirety, you're standing in your strength, you're the most powerful because you are in sync with yourself. You're in the knowing with yourself. You're in your full power. You can stand behind yourself. As when you are living by the matrix or by society's consensus, or the consensus of society, it's not your truth. You're living by some truth that was set up for you before you came into this world. And it's like one truth for all. And it can't be. We're each individual, we're each different. We each are have our own unique being. What's good for me is not good for somebody else, or the way that I am is not the same as anybody else. So each of us have to find our own individual path and worth and gifts that we bring into the world. It's just like, the kids go to school and they teach a curriculum that is very specific and very, if you take all the knowledge in the world and how vast and and unattain well, I don't want to say, and it's infinite. And they take it, that you put it into the curriculum of the school. It's like a thread in the amount of knowledge that there is. And then they take all these kids and they put this one little thread of knowledge and ways of being and say, okay, this is how you're supposed to be, so that you'll be good factory workers, you'll be good society workers. It's all like the worker ant, making people that will fit into the matrix, and be workers. You never learn in school how to be independent. You when you get out of school, you don't even really know how to go and get a job and what to do. You just kind of get out of school and you're okay, you have all this knowledge, but you're never really taught what to do with it. You're taught, it's like school feeds the database. Your brain is like it feeds the base, like gives you a whole bunch of data, but it doesn't really fully encompass the logic mind, which is the mind or the emotional. you know our emotions and our minds are equal. They both serve such a strong purpose on this plane, in this 3D plane, and this 3D experience. And all that is taught in school really is filling the database. And we're taught that that's what's most important. What's most important is learning how to think, how to use your mind with all the knowledge. The knowledge is, okay, you can get knowledge anywhere. People will go and fill their brains with the knowledge that interests them. But first they need to learn how to use their brain and learn how what their brain is, and what their being is, what this experience of life is. That I feel should be the base. He put up that video yesterday. I feel like there's some loose ends in this video. Yeah, I when I started this video, I didn't know what I was gonna say, because I feel like sometimes I feel like there's so much emotion and so many thoughts coming through all at once, that it's like I'm like I don't want to say hose, but like a pipe. And there's so much trying to come through at once that nothing comes through. I just feel like I turn into like a that's when I think I need to sit and just cry. even, and it's not like a sad cry. It's just like a cry to let out all of the emotion. It's so overwhelming. I feel like it's really strange. Also, my friend that I talked to that has been on this journey for a long time, my YouTube friend, I'll call her my YouTube friend because I met her through YouTube. But also with her twin, we've been talking, and she has movement on her twin flame journey. And also with her twin flame, it's the same kind of I can't really I don't I we were talking about the push and the pull, that sometimes you the like I'm sometimes there is the chasing energy, and sometimes there is the running energy. And when one is chasing, it's like the other one, there's an airplane going over, went right over. Can you see it? Can you see it? I don't know. It's like right up above me. Like when he sent me that yesterday, I couldn't reply to him. I replied to him this morning. But it's that the emotion is so intense that it's like you become like, I feel blessed. I feel blessed. And my, I also am kind of like, yeah, I feel blessed and overwhelmed, and just to be on this journey. I still feel like it's surreal, like it's the twilight zone. I've been on this for about a year now, since I realized that, whoa, what is this? Since I realized the connection. You know, I asked him when we met, I asked him if he wanted to, we met a few times, and I could see that there was something there, something like he felt like home. And then at one point I asked him if he wanted to go, we go on a trip, on a day trip. It was a Saturday. And he said, sure. So we met in my area, and he moved before that to the north. And I took him around to all the different places that I like going. We went to a berry tree. So it was like really a year ago. We went to a berry tree. We picked berries. And then we went to Mayan. A Mayan is like a spring, a natural spring, and to an ancient site. And we went exploring that. And then we went down to the beach. So we had a really fun, long day. At some point, we went also to that. I have this place where there's all these bottles, these old antique bottles that there was like a truckload of them dumped somewhere. So you can go there and find like really cool glass bottles there. So we went there, and then after that, I think there were a couple times after that that he asked me if I wanted to meet with him, and I kind of went backwards a little bit because I felt like it was maybe too much for me, maybe emotionally. I'm trying to think back what it was. I wanted to meet him, but it felt like maybe overwhelming or like too complicated emotionally for me or something. I don't even really remember. But there was like a pull away. And then when we met again, there were a couple times, and then I had like this soul recognition, like, whoa, what is this? We met in past lives. We've done this before. It was like a overwhelming boom, boom. We've done this before. Like a knowing, a knowing. And before that, I didn't, I heard about past lives. I've talked about this before. I've heard about past lives, and I kind of felt like there was something there that I wanted to know, but I couldn't really know. But when you have that soul recognition and there's something in you that just remembers, you like remember. And it's a higher form of remembering than just remembering with your mind. It's remembering, your whole being remembers. It's like you emotionally remember. You can feel being there. You can feel that this person has been there with you and that you have always been connected. And it's just this internal knowing of this other person. That and it's not at the level of like, I know this person in the 3D. I know this because you don't know all of their quirks or what moves them here in this 3D, but you do know them to the soul level. You know what moves them. You know inside of them the places that are most intimate. It's like you go straight for the kishke. You go straight to the inners. And that's how I feel like he knows me too. That's why he moves me like no other can move me. And that's why everything else is not that. I'm glad I did this video. It's helping me sort everything out and bring everything out into the open. I think that what I'm going to do, I'm on my way back home now, and I have quite a few things to do. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go home. I'm going to put these videos up, and I'm going to zone out. And by zoning out, I mean I'm just going to put on my twin sent me, or he told me to watch a certain show. I think it was called The Good Place or something like that. And so I think I'm just going to go and I'm going to sit on my son's bed. I don't have a TV in the living room yet. We used to have a projector. I still haven't completely moved into that house. So I need to start moving into the house. Kind of put my roots down and say, okay, this is it. I'm moving into this house. And just get busy with the day. I'm going to pick my son up at 1:15 from school. So I have a few hours. I like it when I have something in my schedule that kind of hits a time frame that, okay, so I have a certain time that I have to have this and this and this and done by, or, it kind of gives me a boundaries that sometimes I need, or sometimes I don't. And I'm going to burn some sage. I think I'm going to go get some sage to burn and some frankincense. I also sell frankincense, so I'll put a link to that also for whoever wants to purchase frankincense that I get from Nazareth. And oh, look at the froggy! It's a froggy! It's a pooja. What is a froggy doing here? Okay, so I am going to be on my way. And then I'm just going to zone out. I'm going to sit, I'm going to roll posters, sit, clean my house. I have a shower that's stopped up that I need to undo. You know, just kind of get into my menial tasks. Just do things that need to be done. Maybe put on some music while I clean. And then just roll posters and watch the movie. Just kind of take it easy for a bit. And just get into, you know, being. And if anything else comes up during the day, any channeling, because a lot of times when I get into just being, things start coming to the surface. I think that's part of it. Part of it is going through something emotionally that is overwhelming emotionally, and then I get kind of stopped up and I just stop for a minute and my mind goes bzzz, and then I get back into okay, well, thank you for watching.